Hey guys, welcome to SheKnowsArsenal. My name is Jessica. I'm your host. You can follow me on Twitter at JustinoTweets and at SheKnowsArsenal. Today we're kind of starting. Well, this is Deluded Gooner. If you guys don't know, I'm sure you guys know. Everybody in the chat is going deluded. So I think everybody kind of knows you, but if they don't, Deluded Gooner is here with me today. We're starting. We call it like some sort of like, what would we call it? Series, show,
I asked you for the name.
collab,
I don't know what we
collab,
call it.
something.
Series, whatever,
Well,
man.
yeah, whatever. Some sort of collab between the two of us. We'll do shows more regularly. And the first one starts today. So yay. It's a good day to start the show because I really was waking up this morning like, okay, we need to talk about something more than just like the fixtures. Something needs to happen. And so there's quite a bit of things to talk about, which is great. I'm sure you guys keep putting like news in the chat. I'll try to keep up with it, but for the meantime, we will be talking about Jesus, Osasin, Tielemans, Raphinha, Aaron Hickey, and then the fixture list. So make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing to the channel. But let's jump in it. Like, let's just go ahead and jump in because we have so much to talk about. I was like, okay, so after the Basuma news, like, because I woke up and I saw the meltdown. And so I was like, oh, I hate this. Like, this is so bad. Waking up late and then seeing all this stuff. This morning, I was like, what am I going to wake up to? Open my phone and I see like all this stuff about Jesus. So I was like, please don't let him be going to Chelsea. And then it was like positive stuff about him possibly coming to us. And I was like, great. So what do you think about the whole Jesus situation? Because the last time we talked, I think it was like during the season.
Yeah.
And so we haven't really talked about any of the transfer links. Would you be excited for Gabriel Jesus to come to Arsenal? It looks likely at this point. So does he lift the levels to like, is he a good replacement for Aubameyang / Lacazette? Like, what do you think about it?
In regard to the last bit of your question about being a direct replacement, we'll actually have to see because you've got to score, for me, I think 20 league goals, potentially 15. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily excited about Jesus because it's nothing to do with him. I just don't think he's exciting. But saying that, I think he fits what Arteta wants to do. I think he fits the modern day sort of striker, you know, pressing, being able to play out wide. The only aspect, for as much as I like him, is has he got the ability to score goals? Now, he'll have a platform to play through the middle, but it's just like when you look at our competitors, you know, Liverpool are scoring a certain amount of goals, you know, but even Spurs with us, Gabriel Jesus has the potential to do that. Saka's got the potential to get double figures again, etc., etc. So I wouldn't say I'm excited, but I think it is a good signing. A part of me would like two forwards. I know you mentioned Osasin. I don't know if we're going to do that with Eddie, but yeah, I think Jesus fits the profile. He's worked with Arteta before. He might have a point to prove. You know, he's got a World Cup year to think about as well. So yeah, man, I think to be honest, he probably does lift the level because who is up front right now? It's just Eddie and Nketiah and Balogun technically. So the bar's on the floor, respectfully to them too. So I'm happy about Jesus, assuming it happens. But as you know yourself, like there's just way too many links. And 1 minute we're getting him, he's not. Then his parents are flying to the country. I don't know where we're at, Jess. But if he signs, he signs. I'll be happy with it, to be honest.
Yeah. So here's the details, guys, because you guys are, you know, probably like, okay, well, what's actually going on? So these are all just reports. Don't know if they're true or not, but they come from more reliable journalists that Arsenal had put in like a 30 million pound bid earlier this week that got rejected. And now they're like imminently going to put in the bid that will get the Jesus signing over the line. It seems like Edu got the price down to something around the 40-ish mark, which would probably be like if you're gonna do something, at least get the price down, because a lot of Arsenal fans
He's got a year left on his deal.
Yeah, exactly. So try to get the price down. Looks like we did that, and it feels a little bit more closer than what it was. Ben Jacobs is saying that he wants to come to Arsenal. That's what his plan is, and for me, I feel like that makes the most sense because he, like you said, the World Cup year, you know, he needs to make sure that he is starting. So him starting at Arsenal, I mean, he walks straight into the team and I think is the best attacker in our team. You think that's overstating it, or?
Yeah. You know, I'm a big, you know me, I'm a big Saka fan, so I'm always gonna
Yeah.
gas him. But yeah, he probably is. The bar's on the floor, respectfully. You know, in fact,
Yeah.
I'd probably say Odegaard to be fair, because I like the guy. But and also,
Yeah.
forgot to mention Gabriel is his ability to play on the right hand side. I know we've been linked with a lot of wingers, but there might be a reality where Eddie's form is good, so Gabriel Jesus can play instead of Saka and things like that. I'm really excited. I wouldn't say excited. I'm happy about his potential signing. I just think we need more, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we'll talk about some other like links to some other attackers in a minute. But, I mean, depending on like what you said, depending on what reports you read, his family is on their way to London to get the deal done. And so I do think that this will get done. I'm not super worried about it. Everybody on this channel that watches me regularly said like I've been pretty confident about this one. The only
Mm.
time I really got a little bit worried was the Chelsea situation, but now that looks like it's cooled off a little bit. So yeah, it feels good. And so I'm a huge Gabriel Jesus fan. Like I've been calling for him to come to the club for like a year or so. So for me, this is like, yay, but
Jackpot, really.
yeah, it is. But there is questions around like, how many goals is he gonna score? Is it enough, like you said? And so
Mm.
Arsenal definitely have to bring in somebody else. It cannot just be him because that if you just bring in him, you're just like a Gabriel Jesus injury away from pretty much being where we are, right? Wouldn't that worry you
Mm.
if it was just Gabriel Jesus?
It would probably worry me, man, because again, on the best of days, we over rely on young players and we over rely on a couple of times when players are really in a purple patch. So I would like two strikers. I must admit, I'm not as heavy on two strikers as much as I was a few weeks ago. I would prefer actually a winger now, but it's not enough. You know, Mikel Arteta spoke about we need to score 90 to 100 goals. Respectfully, as much as I like Jesus and he's got the platform, once again, he's never got 20 league goals in a season. You know, he actually only started scoring when he was linked with us. Saka and Smith Rowe are just learning this. There's not
Mm-hmm.
really any confirmed players that do such. And then you look over at even Spurs. Kane is going to get double figures. Son is going to get double figures. A couple of
Mm-hmm.
other players are going to chip in. So we probably need more. You know, we need our players already at the club to keep scoring or continue to score more. Martinelli and Odegaard in particular. And we probably need to bring in a bit more because it's a 38 game calendar. We've got a young and volatile squad. And like you kind of alluded to, we need to learn our lessons from last year, or we're going to end up in the same place, really and truly, if I'm honest.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see what some of you guys are saying in the chat. Um, Keenan says, yeah, Jesus is going to get 18-ish goals on the high side.
I hope so.
Richie's saying we still need another forward when we get rid of Pepe, Tielemans, and a left back at the very least. Craig says Gabriel Jesus on his own isn't enough. Eddie, we just don't know what he will do as in scoring goals. So almost everybody feels exactly the same. And I have to say, I'm very much like when the window opened, I was like, we need 3 attackers, but we're only
3.
gonna get. I think we need 3. I
Well, I
think
assume what's that? 2 strikers and a winger.
yeah. And then
I'd
we
go with that.
re-signed Nketiah, and then I
Mm,
thought, okay, so it's gonna be 2
mm,
at the
mm.
minimum. And now it's kind of like, okay, is it gonna be a striker or is it gonna be a winger? And that's what's kind of confusing now because I'm still seeing Osasin links and then also raphinha links. So let's go into the Osasin news a little bit. So I
Done.
basically saw this morning that this is coming from Carlo Ladisa, and he's the guy that kind of broke the Vlahovic news, like when we were interested in him and like wanting to bring him in January, that Arsenal are drawing up an offer for Victor Osimhen and the player could arrive by the end of the month. Now, we know that Charles Watts said that Arsenal are interested in Osimhen, but they feel like it'll be difficult to deal with Napoli. And he already kind of made a
Mm.
big move to Napoli. So the fee that they would want would be huge. And so,
Mm.
you were saying that you may prefer a winger over a striker, but what are your feelings around the Osimhen situation? Like, is that a player that you would like to see at Arsenal leading the line, knowing that Jesus can play pretty much on either side anyway? If you wanted to play a central striker like Osimhen, and what is the likelihood of something like this happening? Because Arsenal don't really do big deals like this. I mean, Pepe is an anomaly.
I mean, you kind of alluded to it, man. I do think if you were to sign Osasin, then I think Jesus would quote unquote be that kind of wide forward sort of guy. If I'm completely honest with you, for a variety of reasons, as you just said, I think it can't happen. We're gonna have to give them the bag because they spent a lot on him. They've got Champions League. They're probably going to lose Koulibaly and Fabio Ruiz. So do you really want to lose three key players? You're going to have to just spend the money and deal with someone that is very difficult in the president. Again, without the Champions League, where really are we going to find this money to commit players to new deals, to sign big money targets, and really extend contracts? So I'd be all on signing Osasin. I think we've been on to him since he was 17 years of age, as he said before. Wenger tried to sign him. It makes sense, but I think it's like what Troy's saying is that it's potentially smoke screens. That's probably one that probably drags out over the summer, and probably the longer it runs, the harder it gets, because Napoli are going to have to find a replacement, and the longer it gets, maybe Osasin gets cold feet, and we're probably not the only team that is an attractive Premier League side to him or in for him. So if it could happen, why not, man? Why not? But I think it's a bit dream chasing. Maybe if we got Champions League, we might have been able to do that. There might have been a couple more pounds spare. But yeah, man, it's like you said. And to be honest, when we're linked with players out of Italy, I'm very pessimistic. As you know, Xhaka, Locatelli, many players, they've just, taken us around the houses. So, I mean, I would love it. But yeah, you're going to have to give them the bag because they spent a lot on him as well. But he fits the profile, 100%.
Yeah, I mean he does, but I feel like we also project a little bit too. Like I see some Arsenal fans are like, oh well, the Arteta striker is like Jesus, has to be like Lacazette, like that type of false nine, or Arteta would love a target man. We actually don't know. When
You
Arteta
don't know
came
what he wants,
in,
yeah, man.
yeah, we have no idea what he wants. So I think that's the most interesting thing about this summer is seeing what Arteta's attack looks like, because we haven't really seen it. So Gabriel Jesus, we know, can play several different positions, but he's also wait, hold on. Nashville says, just how hard were you trying to look tough on that thumbnail? Like, why are you calling out my life? Like, that's so rude. But I wasn't trying to look hard. But we don't know exactly what Arteta is looking for, and so that'll be interesting. Jesus can play multiple positions, but I can't really believe that he would come in and not play central,
That's what
because
I'm
I
saying.
thought that was the whole point
That's
of
the
him
whole
coming
carrot
to
that's been
Arsenal.
dangled. Yeah, 100.
Exactly, like he'll get the number 9. So Osimhen to me feels like a smokescreen, but it's something I'm willing to dream about because it would be
Yeah.
great
Dreams
to
free the
have
hub is
him.
sold separately, 100%.
Exactly. So now moving on from that, I wanted to talk about raphinha, because we
Ooh,
are talking about attackers. And I was saying this on I said this on the terrace, and I said on my own channel, and of course people didn't like it, but I love Saka. Like I really, really do. Like he's one of my favorite players at Arsenal, but we're in a weird position with him where he's kind of our best player. He's kind of young. He's nowhere near probably where he's going to be. And he has no competition for his spot. And we're just kind of in a position where we kind of have to give him whatever he wants. He's going to be starting every game, and we have no leverage at all. And so I think you do need to bring in somebody that's a little bit more experienced, that can score goals, that's not a kid, to give competition to not only Martinelli, but Bukayo
everyone.
Saka. Exactly. And so Raphinha would be perfect for that. The opportunity has come about because Barcelona going through a financial crisis, and so he may not go there. So maybe we could bring him in. How do you feel about the Raphinha links? Like, is this somebody that you'd like to see at Arsenal? Do you believe in the talent? And I guess I want to get your take on, Saka needing competition and maybe Arsenal fans being afraid of competition, because I feel like I see
Oh
that
yeah.
a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
Arsenal fans are scared of competition. They didn't want Odegaard because we had Smith Rowe. Fans are hypocrites. They say we need depth. They say we need to cope when Partey, Tierney, and these guys are injured, and then they get scared. You need depth. Liverpool defensively, there's a bag of options there. Up front, they've got a bag of options. City have a bag of options. Spurs are developing that. We need competition. Listen, I don't think there's a bigger Saka fan than myself, but he needs competition. You're at the pinnacle at Arsenal, not in terms of where you can go in for potential. You're wearing the number 7. You're playing week in, week out. I think think we'd see a better Saka if there was competition, not because of competition's sake. You know, there's been several times where Partey, Tomiyasu, Saka, Ramsdale, Ben White have all had to play with little knocks and dribbles and things like that and niggles and whatnot. If you could pull them out of the team, then you make them fresh. As you saw yourself, Saka was finished come the end of the season. He might have scored some penalties, but he's overfinished. Since Arteta's come in, he's overplayed him. Remember when we had injuries in midfield during the COVID lockdown season? He was playing left back. Saka needs competition. You know, if he's going to play for England on a week in, week out basis, if he's going to one day go to Liverpool and City, if we can't do anything, then he's going to have competition. If he signed for City tomorrow, you know, you're not going to play every week. You should have competition. In relation to Raphinha, how could you not love the guy? The mentality, his comments about Henry, the fact that he's a player that gets people off their seats. I do think he's a player that could chip in with goals. I think we need to get goals from wide areas. We do need depth if we're aspiring to be a Champions League club. There's a whole heap of games and we don't know who's going to get injured, who's going to lose their form and whatnot. He's of the right age where resale value is something to consider. He's of a certain mentality. The only thing that scares me is I think Barcelona will move heaven and earth to try and financially be able to buy him. And there might be a couple of Champions League clubs. I think that is one that's going to drag through to the end of the window. But if it could happen and we've got to play a Premier League tax, then we could do a lot worse. You know, we've got a bag of Portuguese speakers, a bag of Brazilians specifically. He kind of ties in with the sort of young thing we're doing. And he's one of more of the younger sort of players. He wants to play. So it's a yes from me. I can't say anything else about Raphinha. We need him, innit? Really and truly.
I don't see a lot of people saying no to Raphinha. Like,
don't make sense.
I don't really see it. And like, he's in a similar situation as Gabriel Jesus, where he needs to be playing. I see there's comments that I don't want any more Brazilians. You know, I don't want any more Brazilians.
Why?
I'm like, the more, the better. Like, I have them as my favorites to win the World Cup. I think they're amazing. So bring on the good ones. I mean, don't bring us Willian. Like, you know, don't bring us that. Like,
exactly the shit.
But the good prime age ones, of course, I would take Raphinha. And like, there's 5 subs now. That's going to be like a forever thing. So it's not like we'll never see Bukayo or we'll never see Martinelli. Like, we will see them. We have more games. We need to think about quality and depth. And the idea that we should be holding space for some of these young players, I think, is a hindrance to them.
And they can all play multiple roles as well.
Exactly. They're not blocking anybody. Like, he wouldn't block anybody's path or anything. So,
amen.
And my whole thing with Adu is kind of like, this is why you're here. You know, I don't think there's any benefit of having him if he can't convince these Brazilians.
Yeah. You as a Brazilian man can't convince the Brazilians. Something's up there. Something's up. 100%. Something's up. Something's dodgy. 100%.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, okay, well, maybe we could get something like this done. But I still think it's very difficult. And like you said, it would drag on into the end of the window. So that's one that I think we'd have to wait on. Keenan is kind of asking, if we signed Raphinha, who's going to play on the left wing? Is that something we really need to worry about? Because like everybody can play on both sides, right? Like pretty much everybody.
Bro, everyone can play over there. Saka can play over there. Raphinha could play over there. Smith Rowe Martinelli could play over there. You know, I want to get to a scenario where our wingers actually swap flanks consistently. The only time I really saw that was Southampton away. You know, we need multifunctional players. We need players to solidify being able to play in one position first and then show an adaptability. But we need competition. You know, how many times do certain players start and players off the bench have to come and make the difference? We've seen that several times with Liverpool. It hasn't always been Mo Salah and Mane. Sometimes Diaz has chipped in. Sometimes there's been unlikely heroes from everywhere else. If we're aspiring to be a team competing in multiple competitions, like, I know we're not in Europe's elite, but I want to go to the Europa League final. I want to finish in the top 4. I want to bring the FA Cup home. You need a squad. People are going to get injured. You know, it's like a chef complaining he's cut his fingers. It happens in football. Arsenal fans do this thing where they say, oh, if we could just keep people fit, if these players weren't injured, it's a fallacy, especially as Arsenal fans. We know players don't stay fit. We know the whole squad is very rarely fit. We used to have a celebration when everyone was fit. We need depth. If the money's there, do it. And especially, and I don't understand it because people said throughout the season, people said Saka needs a rest. Pepe has to play more. But then you're saying stuff about not bringing in Raphinha. Like, people need to stop and think about what they're actually saying. That's my opinion. Raphinha, bring him to the carpet if there was ever an opportunity. He's played with Gabriel before as well.
Yeah, and I also think, and like, this is just me kind of projecting a little bit, but I do think bringing in somebody like Gabriel Jesus would give you a bigger chance of getting Raphinha, like actually being able to convince him. Because if he's looking to the left and the right, like he's going to be saying like, am I going to be playing with better quality players than I would be at like Leeds, like where I came from, whatever. And having a prime age Brazilian international there that's choosing to go to Arsenal after leaving Manchester City, I think would go a long way. Like, I think perception is important, and good
Great point.
players want to play with good players. So,
And with
I
that
would
comes
like to see this.
competition.
Yeah, I would like to see this happen. Like, I think you have to push for it if there's an opportunity. Not sure that it happens, but that's what I would be going for.
But the thing is, what other areas, like we're talking about wingers and strikers? You kind of said it earlier with the striker talk about we don't know
Mm,
what Arteta wants, and it got me thinking we actually don't know what Arteta wants. You know, we might say we
yeah.
need this and that. He might want another centre back. He might want another keeper. So I don't know
Well,
if
he
there'll be
went
money
in
for
for
that.
a center back in January. I was talking
Yeah,
about that
true.
yesterday. Like, we actually were gonna try to pay 30 million for Schlotterbeck. And
Left
it
sided
didn't happen, and I'm like, "So we have coins, but we're willing to spend it on another center back?" Like,
after
it's
spending
wild.
50 on one.
Yeah, somebody's gotta tell this man he needs to get off of the center back thing. It's like his
Literally.
his brand of cocaine. Like, he just can't stop, like, snorting center backs. Like, geez, let it go. Like, it's just too many, but
Oh, he's moving mad still.
he is. Nashville is saying, if we bring in Raphinha, do we lose Pepe? I can't lose Pepe. I know he's being facetious there. But what do you think happens with Pepe? Because I do think any move for Raphinha or a wide player is contingent on the fact that we need to move Pepe on. Now, I hate that. Like, I hate the fact that like we would have to move on Pepe, but knowing that that's the reality at Arsenal, what do you think happens with Pepe? Do you think somebody's going to come in with a bid? Or are we going to be doing like dry loans? Like, what's up with Pepe?
Troy, you probably have to do a loan with an option to buy or a dry loan and hope to convince
Yeah.
sides that exactly like when he returns a year from now, have a year left. He's got a new agent. He can't buy a game. I genuinely believe if there was no AFCON in January, he would have left because I think he came back with a smile on his face. I don't think Arteta just
Mm.
doesn't dislike you. I just don't think he trusts you. Once again, he's got a new agent. So you need to get your agent to do the jobs. As much as it's about Arsenal moving people on, Pepe, you need to go and play. It can't be nice. Think about it, going to work. It can't be nice not having the trust of your manager and not being given an opportunity, especially when I know there should be no egos, but you're our most expensive ever signing. You're Mr. 72 million pound man. This little academy lad in Sacco is keeping you out the team. And then if it's not him, Martinelli, there was a point earlier in the season Arteta was bringing on Tavares. Now, if I play devil's advocate and if you trust Tavares slightly more than you trust Pepe, what does that say? And I know Arteta is a stickler for training. What does that say about Pepe? And also, Pepe offered some comments and he was quite real with it. Like, you can't change a winning team at the time. And he spoke about the communication language. Now, if I'm real, Pepe should have a grasp on the language of English or however he can communicate with Arteta. When we speak about Pepe, I always look back to when he signed and his dad made a comment. I wish I could find it, but his dad had a comment in a newspaper and he said, "Oh, my son needs to stop. He needs to realize that football is enjoyable, but it's not a game. It's a sort of job sort of thing." And you see that with Pepe. I do think Arteta's made him a bit all-rounded a bit more, but he's very emotional. You can't really trust him. I can see why. I don't even think it's an ability. I think Arteta looks at it and says, what am I going to get from Saka at his worst? What am I going to get from Pepe at his worst? And there's certain things you'll get from Saka. Pepe is very volatile. Very easily could be the best player on the pitch. Very easily could cost you a goal. And I think, rightly or wrongly, that's something Arteta isn't happy with. That being said, I do think Pepe should have played a lot more. I do think we won't sign another winger until Pepe's gone. But it's easier said than done because these players they're not bad players, but they're on big wages. People want certain fees. They're not exactly attractive players sort of thing. So it's very difficult to sell goods nobody wants, essentially. I think going back to France is probably the best thing for him if he doesn't stay. But we need players for the Europa League. Could be him.
Yeah, I mean, his wages are, I think, the issue, really. And then
Exactly.
if it's not somebody like PSG, I don't see anybody really wanting to take him on now with those wages. And I think people want to try before they buy because I can't imagine that the perception around Pepe is good out there in the market because nobody knows what he is or if he's good or whatever.
This is it.
So, yeah, I think Adu has a very difficult job on his hands. Like, he can barely sell some of the players that we have. Like, we see the mess that's happened with Torreira. I don't necessarily feel like that's on Arsenal,
No,
but
it's
I
not
do
on
think
that
we
front.
had a little bit of a part to play maybe before that. And the perception of our players is just not very good. And the precedent we set by just canceling contracts, I don't think helps. So I think we're in a weird one with Pepe, but if we could move him on, even with a loan option, like you have to replace him with somebody that ups the
Man.
level of the team, and I
Someone that you
think,
can trust,
yeah,
essentially.
exactly. And we know Arteta likes Raphinha. Like I know that he looks like an Arteta player.
We
And
need him, man. We need him.
yeah, and then so I don't want to get too excited because like when you get excited about things at Arsenal, you get let down. Okay,
That's what we've
Richie,
got, man.
all we have is hope. Richie's question is, if it was a choice between Raphinha plus a deputy left back and Osasin, what would you choose? So I guess if you got Osasin, the idea would be that you wouldn't get anybody to be behind Tierney.
What is Jesus still in that question, Richie? Is Jesus still a part of this? Because I do think we need a deputy left back. I like Tavares, but I think you need to go on loan for a season or two. You're not really ready. I would like a backup right back, but I think we could get away with it with Ben White doing that. So I do think Raphinha plus a left back, I'm more tempted, 2 versus 1. But saying that, it's not really a question you could answer because Osasin strikers win games. And where would United be without Ronaldo's goals? A big part as to why Spurs got their season ahead because they've got Son with 20 league goals and Kane and things like that. So it's a difficult one because I think signing players aren't just to say ain't just all we need. Again, we've seen Eddie Nketiah, Aubameyang, and Lacazette all play through the middle last season, right? There's been times where there's been no movement. There's no movement. There's no forward runners. I think as much as it's about signing people, Arteta really has to earn his money, not just this season, but on the training pitch. There's so much we need to look in-house, and it can't just be signing because we've been signing players. Me and you were talking about centre-backs. We just signed one for 50 million. We signed one the summer before that, and we're still no closer to knowing anything. It's crazy, man. So, yeah, I'd say left back and then Raphinha.
Yeah, we need a left back. Like it's not even a question. You can't let Tierney's
Can't rely on it,
whatever
unfortunately.
injury. Yeah, you can't let him, that ruin our season again. Diallo sends in a super chat. Thank you so much. Diallo says DG is the Saka of the YouTube game, owns the
Thank you,
team.
mate.
K9 became a member of the channel. Thank you so much. And FTL Gooner Craig also became a member of the channel. So thank you guys so much. Yeah. So, and She Knows Football. Thank you so much for your super chat. Says up early grinding. Big up to both of you. I mean, it's early for me. It's not early for you.
I'll claim that, but it's almost yeah. We're in the afternoon. I had to check the time. I'll claim that. I'm up early as well then.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's hilarious. So, and Derek also sent in a super chat. Thank you so much. Next time, put in a comment or something.
Shout out, Derek.
Yeah. Lucas says Jess Vieira is done. What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Arsenal was I don't know.
Okay, great. Bring him back. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't look while I'm doing the show, you guys. I have my little schedule and I cannot veer away from it. I don't want to get confused. All right. So speaking of left backs, let's move this up.
Go on.
I'm going to talk about Tielemans last. So we're kind of talking about the left backs and what needs to happen there. And I did see a report around Aaron Hickey that looks like it's getting wrapped up at about 18 million pounds, which is a good fee, I think, for him. And Nuno is being linked away to Atalanta. Apparently, they want him to replace Gosens, and they play 3/5 back. So he'd be playing as a wing back, which I think suits him a lot more. But there's no real mention about what the terms of this deal is for Nuno. And my hot take is that it could be permanent. I think it could be permanent. I think if they put enough money down, 10, 15 million or something for him, I think he could be gone. I don't think this is a player that Arteta particularly, he doesn't trust him. I don't know if he'll ever fit us because, again, we don't play wing backs and Arteta doesn't compromise on his system at all.
Amen.
He just doesn't. So there's no opportunity. Every time I hear somebody go, yeah, well, we can play a 3-back. No,
he's not gonna do it. We only done it by
4-3-3. So how do you feel about, well, let's start off with Nuno. What do you make of, is this a Adu issue? Is this an Arteta issue? Did you feel like Arteta could have done more to keep Nuno on side, because there was a moment where a lot of Arsenal fans felt like he should be starting over Kieran Tierney.
Yeah,
And
you mentioned sniffing crack and sniffing coke. That's what them Arsenal fans were doing. That was so stupid. Like living in hot take land. Obviously, Tavares stepped up and did his thing at times, but he's just not trustworthy. I've been so vocal on Tavares. It's nothing to do with him personally, but you could see the writing on the wall. He's early 20s. You could tell at 16 years of age, that was someone who was a winger. They said, you're not going to make the grade as a winger, be a left back. He's still got attacking thoughts. I do like the guy. He's just a liability. Even on his best of games, United and Chelsea, he's a liability. And, you know, I have to ask questions of the recruitment board, because the recruitment board said, let's sign him. And Benfica, or whoever we bought him from, couldn't believe it. Not every young player has to be a project player, but at the same time, Arteta has to work with him. I do think there's been times where, Arteta's been harsh and hooked him at halftime or whatever, but there's been numerous times I've been screaming at my TV or my computer, take the guy off, and he's either stayed on or played week in, week out. I can't really be angry at Tavares because I didn't expect much, and I know what he's on. You know, he gave his article, he spoke on Arsenal.com in his article, a defender never mentioned defending.
Okay, hold on. I have to get this out here. Let me share the screen. What is happening in Arsenal life? Like, this is insane.
We signed someone.
Yeah, we freaking signed someone.
We're done. Okay, when I see that on Arsenal.com, I'll believe that shit, man.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me at least read it. Let me read it. This is coming from Pedro Sepulveda. So exclusive, Fabio Vieira will be an Arsenal player. There's already an agreement with FC Porto and Arsenal value of termination clause. So that would mean that we pay the release clause. And Fabio Vieira travels to London in the next few hours. So we'll see if this is real or not. This is what somebody in the chat was talking about it and saying that it was done.
Oh, the area makes sense now.
Yeah, and we've been linked to him before. Like, this is not the first time that I've seen this player. What's interesting is that we were recently linked with Vitinha, and he's at Porto. So that probably means that, like, it looks like maybe it was a little bit of either the reporter didn't get it right and thought we were talking to Porto for him, or they just used us as a smokescreen. Yeah, they used it as a smokescreen. We'll see in a little bit if this is true. Do you know anything about this player?
Techie still, I'm with that. He's a bit lightweight, but he's techie. He's got a low sense of gravity. He can play in a couple of midfield roles. This is where I'm keen to know about him. Like, what are we not signing Telemann? Is it 2 midfielders now? It seems like it's 2 of the more similar sort of profiles. I'm all for that. I don't think at this moment in time he's gonna set the world alight, but I'm more encouraged with that than a lot of things. I actually don't. Yeah, I'm having that. Just make sure you get the other youths in. I'm with that, really. That's something I'm keen on.
What the hell is going on? So, I mean, we'll see, because this is, I mean, it's coming from somewhere else, and if it's true, they kept it really under wraps. Literally. They really did. But things are happening at Arsenal. We can see that at least something is going on. Yeah, I need to look at this player a little bit more. I mean, it could be, if they're similar, because Vitinha for me was very similar to Odegaard. You know, I was like, it doesn't make sense, but maybe they're looking for backups or just more players that play similarly to the players that we already have in midfield.
We need ballers, man.
Yeah, we need more. We need more.
Ballers. We need ballers. We can never have too many ballers. We need problems, really and truly. I'm all for that. That needs to get done, really. Telemans and that needs something else, man.
Yeah, and we always need like more midfielders, because that's kind of what I want. We'll finish the Nuno conversation now and Hickey, but we definitely need more than one midfielder. Let's keep it real. Like, Arsenal, when they were talking about one midfielder, I was like, okay, let's just concede. There's no way we're going through. Yeah, there's no way we're going through the season with one midfield addition. But going back to the Nuno, Hickey conversation, like, I do feel like Arteta could have done more with Nuno. Like, I do feel like we could have. Yeah, I do. Because
what though?
Like, not pulled him out of games and like let him rot. You know,
you don't think he deserved to come? Are you talking about when he's been subbed at half time and that? He deserved that though.
I mean, he like, did he though? Like, because other players play crap and they don't get yanked.
Yeah, but he doesn't
been crap like that sometimes. Well, yeah, like, okay, I hear that. But
Every away game, Nuno, apart from probably
every away. Okay, is it every away
apart from
game?
Chelsea game. Look, what?
Okay.
Nottingham
No,
Forest,
I mean he was bad
Liverpool.
at Chelsea too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Even if his best of games,
he was
he's
crap
buking.
at Chelsea too.
He's more of a winger. Like he's someone, honestly, like you said, if we can make a profit on him or we can loan him out for a couple of
You're
years, see him
done.
improve, then yeah, man,
You're
you might
done
as
with
well just
him.
turn the 8-9 million into 20 and just keep it moving, man. Football's
I'm
cruel.
dead.
Someone said Brighton was cruel. Football's cruel, bro. If you're playing shit, you need to get subbed. Maybe it's because I am a fullback, but I've been telling Arsenal fans where we're gonna go over this guy. I said this was gonna happen with Tavares. He's not. Well, again, he gave his Arsenal.com interview and he said they asked him on his strengths. Now, most defenders would say tackling, tracking, all of these things. He mentioned shooting with his right foot. The signs were there that this guy is dodgy.
Oh, and I mean he's not. If that's one of your strengths,
exactly,
he got
and
one
it's shit as
shot
well.
on target all season, and that was the one that he scored at Manchester United.
See,
what the hell? Like
he's shit, man. Come on now.
Yeah, it's done. I mean, if Atalanta offered anything, I'd probably take it because I'm not attached to Nuno. I think Sambi has a future at Arsenal. Nuno, not so much. So that brings Aaron Hickey into the fold. I have to be honest, like watching him on compilations, I thought, okay, like he looks okay. And then I watched him play one game for Bologna because I wanted to see what it was like, what he was like. And I thought, okay, like he's fine. And then I watched him for Scotland. And then I was like, I don't know about him. And then so I just completely just fell away from him. But now it looks like that is the option. Knowing that Tierney's going to be out for a significant amount of time, like we just know he's going to get injured. Is Hickey somebody you'd feel confident in, stepping in for?
Yeah, I mean, he'd have to learn. He'd have to.
I mean, that's a low bar.
Yeah, it's a very low bar that we're jumping over.
Is a low bar. Like I could go out there and be better than Nuno. Like that's a low bar. Like, but go ahead
as well. To be fair, nah, man, I think he'd be good. Obviously, he's extremely young. Now we've got a discount coming to the Premier League. He's played in Scotland, which is at the bottom. He's played in Italy, which is an improvement. He would learn some harsh lessons, but one, he thinks like a defender. He's very intelligent and he's comfortable at left back and right back. And some people actually say he could have a future in midfield. I actually really like the guy. I think he's really intelligent. I think he'd need to bulk up a lot. Yeah, man, that's what I call a fullback, not Nuno Tavares. Like, if I'm completely honest with you, no Tavares slander, like that comment said. I'm just being honest. Like,
I'm dead. That is so funny. Like,
oh Lord,
I'm dead. Yeah, I'm dead. Yeah, but I think Hickey is gonna be all right. Like, I think he's gonna be just okay. You know what I mean?
That's what we need, though. You don't have to do fireworks. Just do your job. Literally.
Yeah.
I like Tomiyasu because he just does his job. He just does his job. Not everyone has to be amazing.
Tomiyasu is good though. Like,
yeah, he's good, but he's good because he does his job. He's basic, but he's so good at being basic. There's nothing wrong with that.
He's not basic. He's basic. His technical, like,
he's hella basic, and that's cool.
Okay, how is he basic? Well,
he's basic, man. In today's day and age of a fullback, like I love Tomiyasu, but he's basic. Like he just does. I like him because he just does his job. He just tackles when you need to tackle, pass when you need to pass, track with your runners. But he's not exactly the modern day fullback. He probably is more of a center half.
I saw him do a shoulder feint on Ronaldo. He has skills.
What? Because he done that, dropped the shoulder.
Yeah,
Gary Neville used to do that though.
I saw him do that.
The bars on the floor then, because he steps into midfield.
Yeah, because he steps into midfield. Remember that assist that he had for Martinelli's goal?
No, he's wavy, but he's basic. You're a professional footballer. You should be able to do that. You are a professional footballer hitting it over the top. You should be able to do that.
I think Tomiyasu is borderline world class. I said it. So
nah.
Tomiyasu so much. Like the first time I saw him, I was like, I love this guy. He steps straight off the plane from Japan.
I like him a lot as well, man.
I love it. But yeah, he's not like the best in the final third, but I don't care. Anything not to see Cedric, like he's freaking
oh no, he's shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Tomiyasu. Like if Hickey could do a job kind of like that, it would be fine. Like he can play with both feet. He's like 6 feet tall. He's 19. He has plenty of minutes under his belt. Yeah, he has a lot going for him. So we'll see what happens with him. Hopefully we can get that over the line. I see a lot of Zinchenko in the chat, you guys, I just don't see it happening with Hickey coming in. I don't
Same.
see where he fits in.
I just don't
I
see it at
love
all.
him, but no, I don't see it. Let's talk about Tielemans. Let me just get your thoughts on Tielemans as a player first.
Baller needs to improve a lot defensively. Like defensively, he's a bit shambolic at times, but baller, man. Like the guy, need to get that done. 100%.
It looks like it will get done. I mean, this seems like easier than the Gabriel Jesus deal because there doesn't seem to be anybody else in the frame. And, Leicester, unlike Manchester City, can't really afford to let Tielemans go for free. So they're going to sell him for a small amount, or smallish to us, 25 million.
Literally.
Ish. And I think Tielemans is a good player. Like, if this was a year ago, I don't think any Arsenal fans would be saying anything about this signing. Like, let's keep it 100. I think Leicester has had a better midfield than us for years now. And Tielemans has been a part of it. Tielemans, Maddison, and Ndidi. And they went through a massive injury crisis last season, and he didn't look as good. You definitely don't want him deepest in your midfield. That's for sure. He's no central defensive midfielder. But what he gives you going forward and, in the final third is much better than what Xhaka can do off of the left-hand side. Do you think that that's kind of what Tielemans could give you, is just more goals and assists and a little bit more in that final third?
I mean, I hope you can give me goals and assists, but it's actually, obviously, I want him to do well in the final third, but that's not actually what I'm looking for. I'm actually looking for Arteta to get this guy. And, I think we've seen that we want to play out from the back. We've seen little dribs and drabs in the final third, but literally the midfield is where there's a lot of question marks. Once that ball goes into whoever, a lot of people don't have the ability or they're quite scared to play the ball forward. So I'm actually looking at Telemann and to a degree Odegaard to learn to dictate the tempo of the game. If you marry that with some movement, then it takes care of itself. You look at when we lost to Newcastle, if we had a target man, that could get us 5 yards up the pitch. If we had a centre mid that wanted the ball, that would hold on to it a bit longer and get some fouls, that gets us out the field. So that's what I'm looking for with Telemann, really and truly. And where I'm looking at with Arteta, like me and you can list Telemann's strengths, but Arteta needs to know his weaknesses. How are you going to take these players to the next level and things like that? So I'm all for Telemans. I think he can improve a lot defensively, but I'm happy with Telemans if it did happen.
Is Tielemans better than Granit?
I think so. I think so. I think so. I think people are discounting a lot of it. I do think people underrate Xhaka, but 100%, man. The bar's on the floor. It's only Arsenal fans that gas up to Xhaka like this. And I mean no disrespect, because I think at times he's underappreciated, but 100%. 100% he's better than him.
Every time I see somebody be like, he won't start over Granit, I'm it's like my face just goes gray.
To be fair, Arteta's got a love for Xhaka, so I'm keen to see that. To be honest, we're all acting like we're not going to see Xhaka and Telemans together when Partey gets injured. We're going to see this. We will see this.
I'm just hoping that bid from Bayer Leverkusen materializes. That's what I'm hoping.
You want to get rid of Xhaka this summer?
Yes.
Unpopular
opinion.
I wouldn't, I'd let him go if he wants to. I wouldn't force him out the door. I think you should be part of the squad.
I'd kick him out the door. I'd pack his shit.
You don't like Xhaka like that. Don't get twisted. He's frustrated.
I'm done. I don't want to be on the edge of my seat, white knuckling it every single time he tackles somebody or start. I think it's more that the inevitable 2 to 3 red cards we're getting every season.
He's a squad player, nothing more. That's where we go wrong. But at the same time, there's got to be a reason Emre, Wenger, and Arteta all use him. But then that's probably why they all failed to get us.
Because there's never been anybody else.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real. Ceballos is not beating out Granit for his position. Torreira is not beating out anybody for his position. But we'll see what happens with that. But I do think Tielemans is better than Granit in the position that he would be playing, which is more of an advanced 8. Xhaka did a good job there, during the season. But when he got into the box, you could just tell he was lost. He was just I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. So that would definitely help us a lot. So I still think Tielemans comes in. I don't know what's going on with this Fabio Vieira thing. It's totally blown my head. That we could potentially sign someone
to confirm that.
But they're probably scrambling. That's probably what it is. They're probably scrambling. We'll get some sort of update soon. But Diallo, thank you so much for your super chat, says raphinha for 60 million or Gnabry for 40 million. Who are you having? I would say Raphinha, because I think whatever Gnabry would require in wages would boost that up to probably 60 million anyway. And Raphinha is playing in the league already, and we know Gnabry can play in the league as well. But it's just something about Raphinha I think would just be like so spicy. Like that's what I need in my life. You know, what would you choose, Raphinha or Gnabry? I'm not. I mean, I love Gnabry, but I'm not like desperate for him to come back. You know,
Gnabry is cheaper. And there's unfinished business. Fully said
he
to me,
has three. It's going to cost him 390K per week to
bring
keep
him on.
again.
Then
Oh
again,
my
I like Raphinha, but Gnabry, we got unfinished business at the Emirates, man. You can play as a false nine, you can play on the left, you can play on the right, can play as a 10 as well, slightly more adaptable. You know, yeah, man, I'm having Gnabry. That's fully with emotion into it. I'm having Gnabry. Cheaper as well.
Cool. Now, there's almost 500 of you guys watching, so like the video, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, let's keep moving. FTL Gooner Craig says, thank you so much for your super chat, by the way. Says, do you think that with Hickey apparently being close, we won't go after Zinchenko? Big up to Deluded Gooner and Jessica. The scarf is in the mail. Thank you so much. I can't wait to get it. Yeah, I kind of already spoke about this a little bit, that I do think Zinchenko is a little bit of a dream at this moment. Like, you know, I'm sure you agree, right?
We're not gonna get Zinchenko. Like, we're not going to,
Yeah.
because you know, I don't think he's gonna. I think we're going for Telemans, and clearly this Fabio Vieira guy. So how much is Zinchenko gonna play in midfield? I would like Zinchenko purely because we don't probably expect Tierney to play 30 odd games. Zinchenko doing left back would make me feel a lot more comfortable. So if it could, but it's probably a pipe dream. Probably a pipe dream.
Okay, Fabrizio Romano basically he tweeted 3 minutes ago saying Arsenal are in advanced talks to sign Fabio Vieira from Porto. Sources now confirm, blah, blah, blah. Pedro Sepulveda. Talks in progress for Portuguese talented midfielder Fabio Vieira is already accepted the destination as he dreams of the Premier League football. We have been linked with this guy before. Like, this is a long-term target, I'm sure. And so we'll have to see what happens with that. But I would imagine Telemann still comes in, because it doesn't make sense to just bring in one guy, especially because he's so young.
So does that mean Xhaka's busting out then, really, potentially? Because there's too many. I know there's more games, but we got a lot of midfielders there.
That's what I'm saying. Because I was talking, I forget who I was talking to, but I was saying that like my kind of out of the blue exit is probably Granit Xhaka. I think there's something to the Leverkusen rumors. Like, I think he's going to leave. I just have this weird feeling that he's going to leave. It's not just me hoping. I think it's going to happen this time.
I think it's going to happen, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? They might have said that, you know, just stay for one more year, sign a new deal, protect the resale value, give us everything you've got, pause, and then you can leave this year. Maybe.
I'm dead. Oh my gosh. No, I do think that he might go. And like, I just think I know this sounds so dramatic, but we need to be free of Granite. Like, we need to
making that like he's oppressing us or something.
No, I was like, I think Arsenal fans have Stockholm syndrome when it comes to Granite. Like, I really do.
Not just
like,
him. Mediocre players.
Because it's like he's been oppressing us for so long, but you know, he's been decent. So now we're like, well, he's probably okay. No, you guys, we need to move on. I'm telling you.
Still.
Yeah, but Tielemans, I do like Tielemans. I hope he comes in. I think he's a quality player, and he'll bring up the levels. And then you look at kind of like Tielemans and Gabriel Jesus in particular, they're Premier League proven and they're older than the players that we already have, which we need. How important do you think getting some experience into this side will be next season?
It has to be the right experience, because I don't think experience is always necessary with age. And you know, you mentioned Premier League proven. We've bought Premier League proven dons, and it just hasn't worked out. So experience, you know, I could argue Odegaard's experience. I do think the word we're looking for is street smart. I think we need some street smart players that understand football. I do think we don't have enough of them. And you know, your best friend Granit Xhaka said after the United game that we need to be a bit more street smart. You can't, you know, I do think experience is overrated, but it can't be overstated. So yeah, we need some experienced guys, but it has to be the right mentality. There's no point having a bunch of experience if when we're at Newcastle, when we're at White Hart Lane or Brighton or Palace, you're moving scared. You know, you need to have that certified headspace. And one thing I don't like for our young players, when the young players of City or Liverpool, it's not working out, they can look at their experienced players. Saka, it's just, you can only look at Martinelli and Smith Rowe 9 times out of 10. It's just the young players doing it because we don't really believe in the experienced ones. You can't put a price on it, man. You're right. We need experienced players, but the right sort of experience. Bring him, man.
Yeah, for sure. Karthik says, I think Partey, Tielemans, Vieira, Ruiz, Odegaard, Lokonga, Elneny is a decent bunch of midfielders. Well, that's like a shit ton of midfielders.
Many in it.
And you want to buy Ruiz.
I mean, bring Ruiz as well, but which I think is
Yeah.
gone now. You could send Lokonga out on loan for a sec. Elneny is good for 4 or 5 games.
Gosh. Yeah,
Odegaard's probably going to play more as a 10.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. I would say that like Ruiz would kind of do this, but there needs to be another central defensive midfielder in there, like somebody with some height and some weight to him. You know, we're looking a little light.
We're not physically imposing enough, but we knew that weren't happening. You know, Elneny new deal. Lokonga was just signed. You know, Partey's there. We knew we weren't bringing in Basuma or another number 6. All the language, even with Vieira, it's a different profile of midfielder we're looking for. Really. It's crazy.
Matt G says it's time to let Xhaka go. He's nowhere near as bad as a lot of fans say, but we need to upgrade. That's kind of my sentiment. It's like 2 things can be true at the same time, that he's not as bad as people make him out to seem, but it's like literally time to move on. She Knows Football, thank you so much for your super chat. Says super chat to help the channel if you can.
Come on.
What he said. All right, so let's Seiko Vibe says this collab should be a mainstay. I think we are going to do more of these. So yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and make sure you guys go to Deluded Gooner's channel as well and subscribe to his channel, because I mean, but you're like flying. Like when I first seen your channel, like I swear you had as many like subscribers as I did.
I don't even know, man. I don't even look.
And you started to fly, so yeah, you're doing
trying to be better than yesterday.
well.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I remember when you used to say you wanted to be a scout. Do you still want to be a scout or no?
I've done scouting, but yeah, man, like, why not? You can do everything. Man. I'm qualified. I'm certified. You know, my talent ID is immaculate still. I can't tell.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the fixture list now.
Yeah. Boy.
You know, I was just like, don't kill us. That's it. Just don't kill us. I think this is a decent way to start. You know, I'm looking at August, like that Crystal Palace game. You know, we talked about this yesterday on the channel, that they couldn't have picked a more tricky fixture for the start. Like we opened the season away from home at Crystal Palace on Friday. And so I'm having flashbacks like of that game, you know, that basically just hurt our season so badly because we just ended up losing 3 games in a row there. And we lost Thomas as well. But beyond that, Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham, Villa, that is a decent start to the season, isn't it? Not to have to play any of the top 6 until we get into September. And even then, after that, Everton and Brentford. How are you feeling about the beginning of the season? Do you think that that's doable? You know, especially knowing that it looks like we're going to get some of our business done early?
Well, without talking about the obvious, when you look at our season, last season, you could look at 3 points. You know, the tail end in May we messed up. In January we didn't invest in the transfer market, and we had some inconsistent forms. We never started the season well, so that's one thing I want to see. You know, I want to, you know, how we played away from home, how we started the season, on top of everything else, played a part as to why we didn't get top 4. I want to lay down the marker against Palace. Maybe that's the right time to play them because they might not be fully fit. I mean, Telemann, if he does sign, makes his home debut potentially against Leicester. Bournemouth away is going to be quite tricky, but I do kind of favor the August ones. You do need a certain amount of time. When you look at September now, and definitely where October, like for me, October and April is where I'm like, whoa, boy.
October and April, I am just like, that is going to be, but you know what? We always think we're going to do worse than what we actually do. You know, we've had months like this before and we've been all right. So I don't want to like overreact, but yeah, October and April look they look.
Sandwiched. And obviously the Europa League games are gonna get into that as well. No, man, it's scary, man. It's scary. It's proper scary. Like, this is why you need depth. This is why you need depth. This is why I can understand bringing in other players. I'm scared, especially the away from homes.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just looking at that. The tweet, Fabrizio Romano
What's he saying
was
now?
saying more stuff about the Vieira thing. It's just wild. I love stuff like that. It rarely happens to us where it just comes out of nowhere and it's done. He says Arsenal's final proposal submitted for Fabio Vieira, 35 million guaranteed plus add-ons. They will not activate the release clause of 50 million, but decided to negotiate with Porto. Porto are prepared to accept once final details on the payment terms will be discussed. That's
So we're just saying, all right. So we're gonna be paying them for like 30 years for that. All right, Porto, my guys. I love that. We need to be looking at them sort of markets there as well, really and truly. He was previously linked with Liverpool once upon a time. I mean, looking at his stats, he got 14 assists. So yeah, man. Obviously, I'm with that. He can play a bunch of positions as well. Bring that to the carpet, man. Bring it.
And just like you're saying, like we didn't have Europa League last season, or we didn't have any sort of Europe. So looking at this schedule, you have to think that there's going to be more games weaved in between these difficult games. So you're going to have a lot of good players available to you. So it's not just about depth, because we've had depth in the past. The last time that we were in Europa League, they were crap. Like there was just no quality. So adding somebody like this could really help and give some rest to the likes of like Tielemans if we were to bring him in, and Odegaard, which I think is kind of what maybe that Vieira guy would be doing, but I'm just kind of guessing at this point.
He's another one that can play out wide as well. So that's further complicating wide areas. Maybe that means Raphinha's not happening, or maybe, it's just
don't say that. Don't say that.
To be fair, I'll give you hope. Odegaard, he tried to play Odegaard out wide as well. Maybe he's coming to be a squad player. I don't know. We'll have to see. And we like that comment says we were linked with Fabio last summer, so maybe there was some concrete stuff within that.
Mark says, does Edu only deal with players who speak Portuguese? I mean, I wouldn't mind if he did, because that's all the good players. Yeah,
who cares?
Yeah, I don't care. I think Arsenal fans are having a difficult time coming to terms with the fact that we're probably like not going to be as focused on French players, and now it looks like we're going to be focused more with Brazilian players. Like, I feel like Arsenal fans are having a difficult time with that. I personally couldn't care less.
I don't care where they're from. Just be good. Just be good. That's all I ask. Nothing else.
Exactly. As long as they're good, that's all that matters. But how many points do you think we're going to get out of those first 5 games? I like playing this game. Crystal Palace away, Leicester at home, Bournemouth away, Fulham at home.
I'll be hopeful. I'm going to say 9 points from the home games.
Okay.
10 points. 10 points. There's a draw and something else in there. I'm confident about the home games. The Arsenal fans always do their job. Crystal Palace away. It is what it is. Bournemouth away. We've had some techie games there. I'm going to say 10 or so points.
Really? Yeah. I think I'm going to go with... I'm going to go
10.
with 12.
You reckon?
No, wait. No, I'm going to go with 11. I'm going to go with winning the 3 home games and 2 draws. There's at least 1 draw in there.
I'm screaming 3 wins, a draw and a loss. In some of that, in one of that. It just feels too good to be true. We can't do that looking at the teams and saying we should be beating them because I don't know.
Beat Crystal Palace. I mean,
I'm scared of the Bournemouth one. Like Bournemouth, they're gonna be rocking. Like they're quite. Do you not remember when it was like 3-3 or something with Giroud time ago, like a couple of years ago? Gosh. Bournemouth are dodgy, man. Bournemouth are dodgy. Us in Chelsea, they're gonna take points off us.
No.
Every away game, I want to see improvements though, because that's one area we were shitting.
Okay, I need to ask you, because I'm getting these mixed responses about this. What are you expecting from like the Anfield away, the Etihad away? We were free hit FC last season. We can't be that again, right? What do you expect us to get, something from those games? Because I can still see Arsenal fans kind of being like, well, we just need to beat the teams outside of the no. Like I think we need to have higher expectations, right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, obviously, because of where we're at and where Liverpool and City specifically are at, I can't confidently sit here and say we're going to win. To a degree, I will kind of cut them some slack if they lose them games, but we need to move away from talking about playing well or conceding one goal and not 10 and actually winning. You know, Spurs actually took 4 points of City. If you listen to the language around when we played City at home, Arsenal fans have you believing we've won that. You know, our top six record is quite poor. You know, you need to be able to go to Liverpool, to Anfield, to grounds like that, and get results really and truly if you want top four or whatever. So yeah, man, it's something to consider and take seriously. We need to. There's no free hits. You need to. I think we're very defeative, really and truly. So yeah, we got to be trying to get points, man. We have to, bro. We
Yeah,
have to.
I agree. I'm over the going away to those because I see other teams going like we have not scored on
You know what I'm saying?
Liverpool.
It's defeative, man. It's very defeative. It's very defeative. And football, the glorious thing about football, it's not like being Lewis Hamilton in Formula One where the car decides if you're better. It's all about the mentality. Any physical advantages you have is because you've trained. And to be fair, I've seen City and Liverpool kind of struggle against teams as well. They're not invincible as great as they are. Only we are with that. So we need to be getting points off teams like that, as difficult as it is. You know, better surprises have happened in football. We need to.
Exactly. I'm just um not I'm not in the mood for, well, we had a good half
Yeah, that's
anymore.
it,
Like
man. That's it.
I'm beyond that now. Like I took it, but like I'm not doing it again this
That's
season.
bullshit, man.
I'm gonna be like very upset.
That's yeah. I'm
Very
not. I'm
upset.
not with that. I'm not with that. I'm not with that.
Yeah.
That's the false positive fans.
Yeah, it's like, come on, let's be real. So, just to end this off, I do have to read. I'm going to read off the rest of these super chats. Cliff says, "Thank you so much for your kind super chat. I really appreciate it." It says, "Linked with one, linked with that one. It's all a wind up. Shite Hart Lane and everyone else doing business to strengthen. We will take the piss again. I have no confidence in the process." Fair enough. I mean, nothing is over the line yet. We're seeing, links to players and whatever. I would say that like the Jesus deal at the very least, it does look like it could get done. So, but I do
Mm.
understand the frustration. Like, I get where this comes from. Still feeling disappointed about the end of the season, feeling like we never really are as ambitious as we should be. So even though I don't necessarily agree that we won't sign any players and we're not doing any business to strengthen, I do get where the frustration comes from. I do.
But yeah,
Um,
facts really.
and She Knows Football, thank you so much for your super chat. Says, "This is what I do, not sending to interrupt the show." I mean, you're not interrupting the show if you send in super chats. Like, it's not, don't ever think that. If anybody's telling you like you're interrupting the show, like you're not.
They're
Um,
lying.
yeah, exactly. So I guess final thoughts. I did want to, because we kind of got interrupted there with the Fabio Vieira stuff.
Man.
Um, Basuma, how did you feel?
It is what it is, you know. Obviously, I weren't like these fans getting up in arms and stuff. Do I think we needed Basuma more than Spurs? Potentially, because for Partey, the ability to play
Mhm.
2 6s. But then I think when you remove your emotion and your admiration for Basuma, a player that we should really have it at Arsenal, and we've seen him embarrass us 9 times out of 10. We knew with El Nene signing a new deal, Lokonga probably not going out on loan, and Thomas Partey, we're targeting a different profile of midfielder. There was more aggressive links with Telemann. So you're kind of doing your head in, really. So I have to give Spurs their credit for what they're doing or potentially doing. Yeah, like we was never going in for Basuma. So it's like, how can you be vexed about it? All this rejected talk. You can't be rejected if you didn't go in for it. By all means, hold the club accountable for not going and signing someone, but we didn't go for him. Whether we should have went for him is another thing, which we should. He should be at the Emirates, really. But our loss is their gain. Credit to Spurs, we're due for that. Should be here, but it is what it is. I mean, if Lokonga does what I think he can do next year, nobody gives a fuck about Basuma.
Yeah,
Respectfully.
I still think I'm team Sambi Lakanga. Like, I think
Yeah.
he's going to be just fine. I think we've overreacted about him. And I think the only thing that really disappointed me was more about how every single one of our players instantly became shit because we didn't get Basuma, and I don't like that. If
It's the
you're
thing. It's the
disappointed
thing.
that's fine. But like, let's not sit here and act like our players are just crap. You just wanted a different player, right?
Everyone just wants shiny new toys. I do it as well in the summer, you know. Obviously, we need to buy the right players. As much as I want, you know, if
Yeah.
we could get Raphinha and Gnabry and all these guys, we need to buy the right players. And they may or may not necessarily be name brand players. They might be players we know F all about. As long as we need to get the right players, we need competencies. As stupid as it sounds, we have defenders who can't necessarily defend, midfielders who can't necessarily pass the ball forward, and we've had strikers that haven't scored. And people want to talk about work rate and that they're good with the young players and things like that. So, yeah, we need competent players first things first. We've been signing players that ain't done the job. As long as there's a plan with Mikel Arteta about specifically how these players are going to do and how they're going to improve, we're going clear, man. Like, cool with that. But, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. DJ Oni, thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate it. You guys, we're going to go ahead and end the show here. Make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing to the channel. We will be back in 2 weeks' time. Same time, different place. Will be on Deluded Gooner's channel. So make sure you guys subscribe there, subscribe here, so you get all the notifications. But this will be a more regular show. And it seemed like you guys really liked it. There's 500 of you guys in here.
I appreciate that. Thanks for the love, people, for both of us.
Yeah, I think it went well. I think it went well. People are like, Jess, you should get a lead gunner on the show. I probably will, to be honest. I will try to get him on because everybody wants to see us talk about stuff, and I feel like it's not going to be a big deal. Like, we're not going to scream and yell. Like, come on. But yeah, it's like people just want to see us fight or something. We're not going to fight. But if you guys want him to come on the channel, I'll ask him. Make sure you guys are, like I said, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments what you thought about the show. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I will probably come back, you guys. So make sure you guys look out on Twitter. Will come back later on tonight and we can talk more. All right, guys. See you later.